Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Quentin Smith. A shooting in Macon earlier today sends one man to the hospital and lands two people behind bars. Macon police have arrested Jamisha Urban and another man for their alleged involvement in the shooting. Urban is being charged with accessory after the fact. Police Chief Divine Beck confirms that the victim, Roman Maddox, was shot multiple times in the chest, and Beck says he may have also been shot in the side. Maddox has been taken to Baptist Golden Triangle, and at this time his condition currently remains unknown. Maddox is the son of WCBI County Sheriff Terry Grassery. The shooting happened at the intersection on North Street and MLK Street. A neighbor heard the gunshots ring out, then immediately jumped into action.
I was sitting in the house playing my game, and I heard something sound like a gunshot, so I kept playing, didn't think nothing of it. And then, I heard a knock at the door, and I kept playing, so heard it again. I come outside, and the young lady said the guy was shot, so I called the police. I seen him laying down on the ground, say he couldn't hardly breathe, and I see, a lot of more people was out here.
Chief Beck says one other suspect is still at large. Investigators say the suspects were in a gray Chevrolet Malibu with Tennessee plates. The tag number on that car reads L705M0. If you have any information on this shooting, you're asked to call Macon Police Department or Crime Stoppers. Well, many questions continue after the recent arrest of Webster County Sheriff Tim Mitchell. And one of those questions is the credibility in cases of which Mitchell has been involved. Many are wondering if these cases will be reopened or tossed out altogether. Our Cash Matlock spoke with legal experts to find out what this impact could be.
I mean, on all kinds of levels, it's an unqualified disaster. I mean, it destroys public trust in law enforcement.
Forrest Allgood is a former district attorney, and he is referring to the sheriff of Webster County's recent arrest. He says a case like this would be any district attorney's nightmare.
Obviously, the first thing you'd have to do is sit down and figure out which cases the man had a hand in and which ones he didn't.
Defense attorney Kerry Jordan, on the other hand, thinks it may be harder to throw out the sheriff's cases.
It's not an automatic toss-out because the sheriff of Webster County has been indicted, but obviously if he played a role, if a witness was encouraged or discouraged in a specific way that wasn't factual, obviously those things would play a role.
However, she says if it were her client, she'd examine every detail.
He is charged with attempting to intimidate a witness. So I would want to know, has that gone on in other cases? So that is one area that does very much concern me.
There's also a looming concern for the credibility of the entire department.
There's a residual effect that this leads. It puts in people's minds the notion that all officers are bad and all officers are tainted.
Well, it's a black eye. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's going to take some real work to restore confidence. So it's not the death knell for the sheriff's department, but they're going to have to work hard to get the confidence of the people back.
Allgood says electing a new sheriff will help relieve some of the tension in the community.
When the boss, so to speak, changes, the culture changes. It would be unfair to say that the next man that comes in as sheriff is tainted also. Now, is he going to have to deal with a legacy? Yeah, he's going to have to deal with a legacy. But it's nothing that he can't live down.
That was our Cash Matlock reporting there. Allgood says he's seen cases in the past that involved tainted witnesses, and those cases had to be thrown out. Well, it is now time to turn our attention over to weather. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey is standing by with a first look at our forecast. Jacob.
Hey Quentin, we have started the holiday travel weekend here before Christmas, looking at our Alpha Insurance Skycam network across Mississippi. Looking a bit busy out there in some spots tonight. Maybe some people getting those last-minute Christmas presents. So we look at Saltillo here, just a few folks out there, but some of those highways are having a bit of traffic in our area. Heavy rain is moving off through the northeast. That's causing some delays in the airport. We are quiet here at home through the weekend. I've got the full forecast coming up for you here in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Jacob. A partial government shutdown is almost guaranteed as a midnight deadline approaches without an agreement, and the Senate and House have both adjourned until noon tomorrow. Senate Republicans do not have the votes to pass President Trump's demand for $5 billion to build a wall on the border, but talks are continuing into the night. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
As the House and Senate adjourned until Saturday, the government headed for a partial shutdown at midnight. That means funding is set to run out for 9 federal agencies that employ around 800,000 people. Those deemed essential, like air traffic controllers, will have to work but without pay. Nearly 400,000 others will be furloughed. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats and Republicans agreed on Friday night to continue discussions to try and strike a deal. Talks remain focused on funding for President Trump's border wall.
We said to President Trump a week ago, his wall does not have 60 votes here in the Senate, let alone 50 votes. That much is now clear.
Senate Republicans support a measure the House passed on Thursday that provides more than $5 billion for border security, including the wall, but that's been a non-starter for Democrats.
The White House and congressional leaders have been talking since Friday afternoon, but it's unknown at this point what kind of compromise the president would support.
It's up to the Democrats, so it's really the Democrat shutdown.
Lawmakers have said they wouldn't return for a vote until leaders from both parties reach an agreement and one that the president would sign. President Trump continued to push for the wall on Friday, tweeting this design, which he called effective and beautiful. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, the potential shutdown will impact more than 25,000 federal workers right here in the Magnolia State. This means some will be required to work even though they won't see a paycheck, while others will be furloughed, which means they'll basically be at home until the partial shutdown ends. But again, it will be without pay. This move could have a ripple effect in other parts of the economy as well. This includes the housing sector, where certain government-backed programs might be impacted if it drags on for too long.
We're not really expecting a whole lot of impact because most of the agencies have a plan. HUD says they have a plan in place, which means they'll continue to endorse FHA loans. VA says that their anticipate business will be as usual. Conventional Fannie Mae loans, Freddie Mac loans, we expect to be business as usual. So the bigger implication is going to be how long is the shutdown going to be, how long will it take, and what kind of delays will we experience. For example, in getting transcripts for IRS tax returns, verifications of different parts that we need to do the mortgage loan. If those agencies are affected or it runs long, then that could delay the processes more than anything else.
Republican House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy told lawmakers they would be given a 24-hour notice before a vote to end the shutdown, a push that pushes a reopening of the government until at least Saturday night. A state senator is under pressure to step down from his leadership position after being arrested for a third time on drunk driving charges. Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves is urging Terry Burton to relinquish his post as President Pro Tem of the Senate. You may remember, Burton was charged with DUI second offense after a Wednesday night accident in Oktibbeha County. Burton issued a statement today apologizing for causing an embarrassment to his friends, family, and colleagues after his arrest on Wednesday. He also said he would consider seeking professional counseling. Now, the President Pro Tem presides over the Senate when the Lieutenant Governor is unavailable. Burton was elected to the position by his fellow senators. The Columbus Municipal School District, along with several school leaders, are named in a civil suit. Former Superintendent Dr. Philip Hickman filed a suit today against the school, Board President Jason Spears, and 2 board members, Josie Shoemake and Frederick Sparks. The complaint filed by Dr. Philip Hickman alleges Spears told him that he'd never send his kids to, quote, this all-black district. Hickman also accuses Josie Shoemake of telling Hickman he acted too black in board meetings. Hickman also claimed he was harassed by board member Frederick Sparks, so much so that he became ill and emotionally distressed. In February, the board members voted to terminate Hickman's contract. In March, Hickman attempted to appeal his termination, but the board determined there was enough evidence to uphold the firing. Hickman is now asking for compensation for lost wages in accordance of his contract, emotional distress, and a public apology to restore his reputation. The former district superintendent is representing himself. Now, we reached out to Board President Jason Spears this afternoon. He says he has not seen any paperwork, and this was the first time he'd heard of this suit.
Well, tonight clouds have finally started to clear out. There is the chance for some patchy fog as we start our Saturday morning, but I'm expecting to see some sunshine this weekend and temps warming up into next week. I've got the full forecast coming up here after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Well, the holiday weekend has begun across the area, and we are watching for those really nice weather to finally roll on in here. as we see at our SkyCam network showing that things have cleared through for the most part. Those clouds are moving out of the area. Temperatures now are taking a tumble down to 33 in Tupelo. We have calm winds, and we watch those temperatures fall to where that dew point is. We'll have to watch for some patchy fog by morning, but for the most part, I think things are looking pretty good tonight. 33 is the current temperature in Columbus, 35 in Vernon, 30 in Winona, down to 29 in Grenada. As we go through the night, many of us will fall into those low 30s and stop there. One or two of us could sneak into the upper 20s if we've already done it in a few spots overnight, but we'll call it a mostly clear sky with the chance for some patchy fog by morning. As we look through here to our north and to our east, look at all that rain across the mid-Atlantic through the northeast along the eastern coast. That's causing some problems if you're in the airports, but if you're driving, a lot of the country here through the southeast and the Midwest is looking high and dry, so if okay on the roadways out there, this system will continue to lift on. So if you've got a flight, say, late Saturday or Sunday, things should improve here across some of those major airports across the northeast in the coming 48 hours. As far as for Saturday, expecting again some patchy fog by morning, temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 50s. We will call it a partly cloudy to mostly sunny sky in the afternoon with light south winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. 57 will be the high in Columbus, 57 in Macon and Ackerman, 56 in Starkville. A little cooler in West Alabama. I got 55 in Vernon and Reform, 54 in Solent. And up in Tupelo, we'll call it 55 there, 56 in Houston, Calhoun City at 57, 55 in Monroe County. As we look through the weekend, very similar for both days, perhaps a little patchy fog to start our Saturday, and maybe a few isolated showers to start our Sunday here, but those temperatures climbing generally into the mid to upper 50s. Notice here by Saturday night into Sunday morning, those clouds come back. A few isolated showers are trying to show up during the morning hours, perhaps as you're heading church, but after lunch into the afternoon, lots of sunshine coming for our Sunday. As far as looking forward for Santa on Christmas Eve, the estimated arrival time is going to be after 9 p.m. So if you're watching, kids, make sure on Christmas Eve you're in bed before 9 o'clock. Looks like Santa will have no problems flying overhead as we head into Christmas Eve or late that night. As we look, though, later into the week, though, by Wednesday and Thursday, watching south winds return across our area. That's going to bring in some moisture and the chance for some storms as we get into Thursday during the day. Can't rule out a strong storm there as those temperatures keep up in the 60s. Overall, looking a little more like fall than winter.
An area church shares the Christmas spirit with some of their younger neighbors. We check in on the celebration when we come back. Welcome back. A Tupelo church delivers Christmas cheer for students and teachers at a Lee County school. Our Allie Martin tells us how the outreach is part of a vital partnership between the church and school.
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
Christmas came 4 days early for students at Plantersville Middle School.
I got a Sweet Love lotion, let me see, Sweet Love perfume, Starburst lip smack pack. It has lip balm.
Wow.
And socks.
For the second year in a row, Cornerstone Church members bought presents for every student and gift cards for all teachers. It's part of the church's commitment to make a difference throughout the entire year at the school.
Jesus said he came not to be served, but to serve, and so we want to demonstrate that in a tangible way here in the community. We're just right up the road from Plantersville Middle School, so it makes sense to reach somebody close to us.
Plantersville Principal Lindsay Brett is also a member of Cornerstone, and she is also known as her alter ego, Gladys Gladstone, an entertainer and communicator who teaches life lessons and is well known to students. Gladys helped deliver the gifts.
Oh, they love it. Are you kidding? I had one kid who said, I've always wanted a Nerf gun. And as the principal, I'm like, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a Nerf gun war.
Students appreciate the church's generosity.
They're very thoughtful. I'm really grateful and happy.
In Plantersville, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Coming up next in sports, high school hoops. We have the highlights coming up after the break.
Here's sports on WCBI.
The Mississippi State women's basketball team bounced back with a huge win on Thursday night at Washington when they won 103-56 victory after losing Tuesday night at Oregon. The Hell State Hoop squad improved to 11-1 on the season after the win. WCBI's Blair Schaefer was there and she has more with the Bulldogs.
The Mississippi State women's basketball team defeated Washington 103-56 Thursday night in the Alaska Airlines Arena. From the tip, the Bulldogs applied defensive pressure, leading to back-to-back scoring opportunities, forcing Washington to take a quick timeout after only 3 possessions. Leading the way for the Bulldogs was Jordan Danbury with a career-high 20 points and 4 steals. She was one of 5 Bulldogs in double figures, helping Mississippi State break an arena record for opposing points scored. Coach Vic Schaefer said he talked to his team before the game about responding. He wanted to know how they were going to respond from the Oregon game, and he said that his kids did just that tonight.
When it was time to play, I think we need to be ready to play. You got to answer the bell. You got to punch first, and we've always taken great pride in that. So I thought, again, you're coming into somebody else's house and playing on their court. You need to let them know you're here and you're here to play the way we're going to play the game, and I thought we did tonight.
The Bulldogs will close out their preseason non-conference schedule on December 30th as they take on Louisiana Lafayette at home. But for now, reporting from Washington, Blair Schaefer, WCBI Sports.
Switching gears from women's basketball to Ole Miss men's basketball. They win their 6th straight game tonight after defeating Middle Tennessee 74-56 on the road in the homecoming return for head coach Kermit Davis. The Rebels improved to 9-2 on the season, and junior guard Breann Tyree finished with 24 points in the win. Ole Miss will return home next Saturday for their final non-conference game of the season against Florida Gulf Coast. Multiple high school basketball tournaments are taking place this weekend during the Christmas holidays. One of our area teams is looking to remain unbeaten today in the Amory's Hoops Shootout with Santa Classic. To the game, Nettleton boys facing Pontotoc. Early on for Nettleton, it would be Caleb Hobson here. He would get the steal and he would go coast to coast and finish it off with the right hand. Pontotoc up early. Later on for the Tigers, it's Graham Gardner here coming up. He would drive and kick to Dedrick Johnson, who passes it right back to Gardner for 3 in the corner. That's good. Second quarter, Pontotoc up. It's Rock Robinson. He would find Cortland Armstrong for the transition 3 to extend the lead. Back comes Nettleton. It's Sean Pounds. He does an in and out, and look at behind the back pass there. He would go in for the 2, but it's not enough as Pontotoc boys give Nettleton their first loss on the season with a 70-52 win. Staying in Amory now. Smithville girls facing Itawamba AHS. Itawamba gets the offensive board here. It's Heather Mobley. She would get in there and score for 2. It's later on that would give Itawamba the early lead. And here's Orlandria Smith now. She gets herself for Smithville, and she would go coast to coast and score for the lay-in for 2. Back comes Itawamba. It's Quiana Lee with a dime to Madison Robinson here for the baseline jam, for the shot, excuse me. That would go for 2. There is Santa Claus digging in the hoops there today in Amory. Later in the first, it's Smith. She would drive again, Euro step, and misses, but gets the rebound and finishes with the N1 layup. Smithville girls going to get a 43-31 win over Itawamba AHS. Let's go over to Columbus now. Westland girls facing Minor in the Minor, Alabama in the Joe Horn Christmas Classic. Early on, it is Westland's down 3 off the fast break. Marvasia Seals goes coast to coast. She finishes off for the 2, cuts the lead to 2. Second quarter, Lady Panthers down by 2. It is past Avery Sanders back to Seals in the corner for the 3, and that's good. She drains the triple, trims lead back to single digits. Later on, it's Minor's Maya Poland. She gets the steal, and she would go coast to coast at the other end and finish off for the left hand. Back comes West Lowndes. It's Sanders. She finds Tydeja Hood at the other end. She would get the shot to go plus the foul, but in the end, Minor gets the win over West Lowndes, 53-41. That is it for sports. Jacob Dickey will have more coming up after this with your last look.
Well, perhaps the weekend into Monday looking the coolest out of the entire 7-day forecast, but still mid to upper 50s. We should be in the low to mid 50s this time of year. 60 by Christmas Day. If you're hoping for a white Christmas, have to go all the way up north into the Great Lakes and beyond for that there. As we get into Wednesday, Thursday, things warm up. Winds kick in out of the south. Maybe have to watch for some strong storms on Thursday. Heavy rain, a good guarantee with that, though. Some spots and some models are showing that we could see 1, 2, maybe even 3 inches out there. So bit of an active pattern here, but we're looking a little more fall-like than we are winter-like. I guess since this fall, we enjoyed winter temperatures. Maybe this winter will enjoy a little fall.
So we should expect a cold, chilly weekend?
Some. It'll be mild out there. So.
Okay. Have a good weekend, everyone.